Our consent to be live streamed. Anyone with access to the live stream can watch it and share it with others. Got it.
So nice to share.
And I'm going to put this over on this screen so it doesn't distract me. All right.
Yeah. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it.
All right, ready to rock? Any other notes before we get going?
Let's kick it.
All right, everyone that's watching now can see how the sausage is made.
Sausage.
I like sausage.
Sausages. You ever watch Kids in the Hall?
I'm sorry?
You ever watch Kids in the Hall?
I did, yes.
Sausages.
Dude, you know what? I think if you did like reels on like Instagram or like if you were on TikTok, dude, you could get millions of views because you're hilarious. And you do all the voices.
No.
All right.
Well, thanks, man.
Welcome to episode 59 of the Thrash Report. This is for August 25th, 2021. This is your weekly music commentary podcast where we discuss all things metal and heavy music. I'm Chris. Joining me, my co-host, Jim Osborne. Jim, what's going on, man?
It's log. It's log. It's big. It's heavy. It's wood.
Wait a minute. Didn't Ren and Stimpy play with a log? Didn't they have
Ren?
I think they had like it was like a commercial for like a toy, and it was literally like a log.
Yep. But it's actually about Lamb of God.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah, that's where I ripped that from.
Nice.
Ren and Stimpy. Good old show.
Stimpy, you fat bloated idiot. Dude, actually, I think they're rebooting that, aren't they?
I don't know.
I
I
think they are.
I did see an ad for the new Beavis and Butthead, though, that they're coming out soon. I didn't see when, but hopefully soon.
Cool. I have not. That'll be good.
Yeah.
We got
So to answer your question, I'm good. How are you doing?
great. Yeah, doing well, man. Doing good. I was gone over the weekend. It took a little long weekend. Took a trip out to New York City. It was yeah, it's pretty crazy walking around Manhattan, and you kind of like get this vibe where it's like, bands, some of the bands that we listen to, like they got their start like right here. It was kind of crazy, right? It's like almost like a you're walking on historic ground.
Yep. Very cool. I've never been out there. I'd like to go someday.
Awesome. We'll have to do some when they do some show out there. We'll go out and have a blast. It'll be good, and then we can go to Luger's Steakhouse, and I can demand a free steak. Evidently, Peter Luger's Steakhouse is supposed to be like the best.
Awesome.
So we'll try it. I heard they only take cash. like literally, like it's like you can't even like get in with a credit card. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah. The bar right outside of our neighborhood was like that. They just started taking cards, I think, a year ago.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, we got some juicy news nuggets. I think the big one I want to call out that we're going to get to after some headlines is we're going to kind of compare. And this is one that we actually we posed this question to the Thrash Report listeners on what is their favorite American metal bands.
20 of them. Yeah.
I'm excited to get to that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get rolling.
Yeah.
I think one of the first ones I want to talk about, and it just caught me a little off guard because I remember back, man, this was years ago. I thought that Bruce Dickinson didn't necessarily have good things to say about Metallica. I thought he kind of, I don't know, had like a little chip on his shoulder about Metallica. I
Hmm.
don't know. I could be wrong, but this was like, you know, back in the late '90s, maybe the early 2000s. I'm not really sure what the rift was, um, but now coming out on the historic 30-year anniversary of Iron Maiden's or Metallica's Black Album, Bruce Dickinson, he in a recent interview with Classic Rock Magazine, he basically said that Metallica's 1991 self-titled album essentially does everything right, which was interesting, right? He said that the album pushed metal into the mainstream, and
Yep.
he basically said Metallica, they're the ones that had the balls to do that, right? It was a kind of a detour from their sound, and Bruce went on to say like Maiden, Judas Priest, Pantera, they were all at these like this crossroads to where they had a chance to step it up to the next level, but none of them really had the balls to do it, but Metallica did. And it really kind of pushed them into the mainstream, which
Mhm.
he kind of has a point, right? And so um, I just thought it was cool that that Bruce Dickinson kind of called that out. And if I totally have that wrong, like back in the late 2000s, I mean, I want to say that it was like a festival or something, and Bruce was kind of like, "Well, we should be headlining. Like we're better than Metallica." It was like one of those things,
Yeah.
but I'm not 100% sure. So if anyone knows what I'm talking about or remembers an article from back then, hit us up. Let me know.
I do remember seeing, I don't know if it was my first or second time seeing Pantera, but they were, well, not they, but Phil was trashing on um, Metallica. He always spoke between songs and rambled on and on. And he was basically saying how Metallica sold out and left a void at the top for the biggest, who's going to be the biggest metal band. And Pantera said, we're stepping into that spot. And
Oh, really?
I've always remembered that. And I thought it was kind of an ass thing to do. And I've always been curious what the other band members thought of that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, yeah, I wonder if he still feels that way. Because I know there's tons of pictures and stuff of like early Metallica hanging out with Pantera, like in the early 80s. And
Yep,
yeah, I know they were friends at one time.
totally. And this next one, we can't pass up an opportunity to wish the metal god himself a
Mhm.
happy birthday. Um, pretty amazing. Rob Halford turned 70 today, and I'm pretty excited. I just counted. I have 16 days until I get to see him. So
Nice.
pretty excited to see Judas Priest on their 50 Metal Years tour. So again, shout out and a big happy birthday to Rob Halford.
Happy birthday, Rob.
You say it's your birthday, dude. You remember that? Did you ever go to Showbiz Pizza when it was your birthday?
Never heard of it.
Why you never hear? Oh, dude. So when I was a kid, it was kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese, right? Or like circus. I don't know, circus pizza. They didn't have like animatronics, did they? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
but yeah, Showbiz Pizza. They had the animatronic band. It was called the Rockafire Explosion,
Nice.
and you go there for your birthday parties as a kid, and they would all sing. Um, you say it's your birthday, and I think I got a 45 record. Like they gave you a record, you know, as part of your birthday celebration. So I got to bring home a birthday record that had like the birthday song on it. I don't know.
Nice.
I'm so old. Nobody listening is gonna know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway,
Yeah. Yes. What else we got? I did see, I saw an article this morning, then I heard it a couple of times. Um, sorry. Uh, on the radio, different news outlets today, they're talking about the album cover for Nirvana's Nevermind or Smells Like Teen Spirit or Nevermind. Yeah, Nevermind's the title.
yep,
And the kid on the front or the baby on the front is now like 30 years old and is suing the band on their estate.
ridiculous,
Yeah,
absolutely ridiculous.
for he says for child pornography, and says that his parents never released the rights to the picture or something, but apparently they sold the picture of him for $200 or something. And I think it was even 5 years ago when the album was celebrating its 25th anniversary that he was actually like redid the album cover or something. So I mean, it's
Oh yeah, dude, I kind of remember that.
yeah. So he seemed to be proud of it, and now he's saying, "Wait, I don't like it." So I
Well,
don't know.
because now at 30 years old, he said he's seeking $150,000 from
From
each of the defendants in the suit. Come
17
on,
of them, 17 defendants.
ridiculous.
Yeah. So it seems fishy. Maybe sounds like a money grab, but
Yeah,
no.
it's a total money grab. Absolutely.
Yep. And then as a quick follow up, the same. I saw that on Lamb Goat, and they later released that breaking news that the girl on the cover of the Korn debut album is also suing the band Korn over her crippling fear of playgrounds.
No way. You made that up.
I didn't make it up, but I think the site did. It's fake.
That was a good one,
Yeah, that's funny. So it'll be fun to follow that story and see all the comments on it.
right?
Yeah. And then we also watched a movie this weekend. HBO has a documentary on Woodstock 99.
Of how it was a fiasco.
Yeah. Just, I mean, like from minute one, just moment the gates open, just went to shit, literally, and a lot of it.
I don't know too much about it. I mean, I'm curious. What are some of the biggest takeaways that you got from watching that documentary?
I thought they would talk more about Metallica, but they must have behaved themselves and the crowd was okay for them because they didn't really mention them much. Just like one quote from James. And but the biggest thing was, with all the shit going on when Limp Bizkit was playing, the crowd was already pretty amped up, and the promoter or somebody went up to Fred Durst and said, "Hey, you got to get these guys under control. Go out there and say something, and don't make it any worse." So that's not what Fred did.
Mm,
He went out and agitated him even more because what are you going to do if someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, behave," and then you're going out in front of what 500,000 people or whatever it
that's
was.
right.
So that was probably the biggest takeaway for me because then after that, the promoter was kind of blaming Fred for all this stuff and blaming the style of music and stuff. Like, no. And then they also said, no, they're charging $4 for water and they were charging $4 for beer. So what are people going to buy? Beer. So
Right.
everyone is drunk, dehydrated, and it's just a mess. And then one of the people putting it on said about the show that it's not a poor man's show. It's going to be expensive. Like, well, the people going were all their late teens, early 20s was the majority, and back when I was that age, I didn't have the money I do now, and I was would just walk into a show with the clothes on my back.
Right.
So, yeah, sounds like they tried to scapegoat their own issues that they created.
Sure.
Definitely an interesting show. Lots of stuff on bands. It seems weird that it was 22 years ago. And
Yeah. Right.
yeah, but they talked about a lot of the culture and issues that were going on back in the day and when that was going on, and kind of talked about what led to just the mass chaos that it was. What was like society was happening and stuff. So definitely worth a watch. So documentary on Woodstock 99 on HBO Max. Check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. Anything else
Cool.
new?
Well, I was gonna say you mentioned this article, and it actually is it's something that we've talked a little bit about in the past, but recently on Unheard they have this article talking about the beautiful world of heavy metal.
Oh yeah.
It's asking why this genre that we listen to, obsessed with death, attract the kindest people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were gonna bring that. I'll cut this. We were gonna do this next week. Sorry.
No,
Yes.
no biggie.
All right, we'll cut that.
Cut it on the live stream too.
Yep.
No,
All
that's
right.
cool.
Hey. So this is one that I've been waiting for,
Yeah.
and I'm curious to hear from you So what do you want to do first? You want to see who the article? You want to see what they claim is the top 20, and then we'll kind of see how our lists line up.
I say we do our lists first and then see how it compares to theirs.
All right, go
So
for it,
what
man. Let's
yeah.
hear it.
So what it is there was an article by louder.com or I forget who, but yeah, they polled their listeners, their readers, and they wanted to know who their fans thought were the greatest American metal bands. So they took the top 20. So, like you mentioned earlier, I sent out a uh, tweet, Facebook, whatever, just asking our listeners to come up with their 20. And you and I both did the same. So I can read mine if you'd like.
Yeah, go for it, man.
All right, I'll start at 20 and go down. Dream Theater, Tool, Robert Zombie, Deicide, Mastodon, Typo Negative, Cannibal Corpse, Overkill, Death, Exodus, and the top 10 being Machine Head, Testament, Anthrax, Lamb of God, Korn, top 5, Megadeth, Slipknot, Pantera, Metallica, and Slayer. So I kind of based my list off of, this isn't my top 20 favorite bands. This is who I think are the biggest American metal bands. So there's some on here that I'm not really a fan of, but I understand their place in metal. And so I kind of based it on one thing was like the venues they play. They play in small little local clubs or they play in stadiums or arenas and stuff. And also kind of how often they're mentioned, how you see their name out. And so that's what I put. And I put Slayer number 1 over Metallica. I think Metallica is obviously the biggest, but I mean, Slayer just never strayed. I mean, they came out, Show No Mercy just came out and punched you in the face, and they never stopped. I mean, yes, they retired, so they stopped, but I mean,
Right.
But yeah, album after album, just killer, and their fans are just the most nuts. So I mean, I gotta go Slayer number 1.
Interesting.
Any shockers on there?
Um, I guess it kind of look. Yes. So it was actually aligns with an article I read last week asking, "Is Tool a metal band?"
Yeah, I saw that.
So I was just, yeah. I guess I didn't even. Again, Tool doesn't even cross my mind. I'm not really a fan. But also, you had some pretty, like Deicide, Cannibal Corpse, Death. You had some pretty extreme on there as well. Which again, I look at my list and I'm like, yeah, wow. You can definitely tell when you don't put a more of a narrow focus on the bands, what genres kind of come in, right?
Yep, that's something I wanted to look at too, and not just thrash. I mean, that's my thing is thrash, a little groove too, but I wanted to look outside. So I was thinking of the biggest names in each genre.
Right on, right on. So I had, and surprisingly, again, going through my list, I'm trying to think. I mean, Lamb of God wasn't even on it. And so I'm like, wow, is there someone on my list I'd replace with Lamb of God? And I'm like, I don't know if I could, man. So let's go back. Again, starting with number 20 on my list. So I start with Nuclear Assault. Did I say that right? Nuclear.
It's nuclear, Lisa. Nuclear
Assault, Pissing Razors, Kill Switch Engage, Armored Saint, Dream Theater, Sacred Reich, Five Finger Death Punch.
I knew that would be on there.
Metal Church, Slipknot, Avenged Sevenfold, and then our top 10, I start with Trivium, Machine Head, Overkill, Exodus, Slayer, Megadeth, Pantera, Testament, Anthrax, and Metallica.
Okay.
So what do you think? Any shockers?
Um, Pissing Razors, yeah.
You know what? And it was one of those where it was fresh in my mind, but it was also just so underrated. Like, I mean, I listened to their entire catalog last week, and I am just so amazed on how good. And dude, I mean, they're from El Paso, Texas. I don't know. So again, if I, that one, maybe again just because it was top of mind, but
Yep, and Killswitch Engage, I totally missed that one. I'm not sure if I would put them in my 20, but
sure.
definitely up there. And I had an alternate one that I kind of put in and out was System of a Down,
Yeah.
just how huge they are. And that was some of our comments on this too. Was it's kind of easy to come up with the bands, but putting them in the right order
Oh,
was
right. I
difficult.
must have spent an hour just moving them around.
Yep.
And then looking at two. So if I went, there was ones too that kind of fell off, and I'm like, well, Death Angel should be in there, but where do you? I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I thought about them, but I just uh, they'd probably be in the next five for me. But let's see. Yeah, the Armored Saint and Sacred Reich. I didn't consider those.
Yeah,
Metal.
Sacred Reich was a big one, especially just influential on me. I mean, in the early days, um, yeah, I couldn't get enough of them.
Mhm.
Um, where was Trivium on your list? It was Trivium on your list?
No,
Wah, wah.
just because they came out and they got pretty big, and then I don't know if we've talked about it before, but there was kind of like a time when people just hated Trivium. So like they talk about it too. Like I think it was after Ascendancy or
Hmm.
State or something. So I know there's a lot of hate for them. I certainly love the hell out of them. I thought about putting them on my list, but I just wasn't sure if they're you know top 20. But
Sure.
I would not argue with someone putting it in theirs. And same with Avenged Sevenfold. I know they're kind of metal. Some people say they're not, but they're huge, and I enjoy them. I considered putting them on there. They're probably, like I said, the Dream Theater probably in my next five top
Did I ever
20.
tell you, because basically I'm more metal than you. No, I'm just kidding. So, did I ever tell you the story of Avenged Sevenfold? So, like, I was at my old house. So this was 1999, 1998 or something, right? And it was before social and everything. And I used to get so at anthrax.com, you could sign up, and then also they would post on anthrax.com, Charlie or Scott, right?
Mhm.
And you'd get like an email, like sometimes they would do like a tour diary or whatever, and it was just a post on their site. And I was reading Charlie's one day, and he's like, this band from Orange County, they're gonna blow up. They're gonna be the best thing ever. Like, you got to check out this band,
Mhm.
Avenged Sevenfold. And I'm like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And I went, and that was like, I think their second one was out, and I don't remember what the title of it was. What's the one with Unholy Confessions on it? I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyway, dude,
City of Evil. Is that?
no, it was before that.
Okay.
Yeah, because that was like their fourth or fifth release. I mean, they had ones that were out way before the commercial success that they had, and I
Sure.
was like, dude, these guys kill. And so yeah, I was all over Avenged Sevenfold. Not to say I was a fan before they got big, right? Because
Yep.
that's but yeah, that was so I've been a fan for a long time, and I've seen them live like I don't even know how many times, right? So I am a huge fan of Avenged Sevenfold for sure.
Yeah. First time I heard them, I remember it was off the City of Evil album. I don't remember exactly which song, but driving around and I was listening to 93X out of the Twin Cities, and
Hmm.
this song came on and it was catchy as hell. It was heavy. It was fast. The solo was awesome. And I didn't catch who it was. So when I got home, I called the radio station and said, "Hey, you played a song at like 20 minutes ago, whatever." And who was that? And the guy that answered the phone was just pumped. He's like, "Oh, that fast fucker with that heavy solo in the middle. Yeah, dude, that was Avenged Sevenfold." Like, oh, I've heard that name. So that's then I bought that album, and yeah, I enjoyed them too. And now that I think of it, they had a couple songs on the MTV2 Headbangers Ball compilation CDs,
Got it.
and one of them was from City of Evil, I think, and the first one was from their previous album. So I guess I had heard them, but didn't catch me like that time I was driving around. But yeah, definitely a huge band. And I saw them live once. It was when they were breaking in the new US Bank Stadium where the Vikings play.
Oh yes.
They played with Metallica and Volbeat.
Yep.
And it was kind of weird because obviously I went there for Metallica, but I was looking forward to Avenged Sevenfold because I'd never seen them. And I wasn't a Volbeat fan. I just couldn't get into them. But then after the show, I mean, Volbeat was amazing.
Oh yeah,
So I
dude.
became,
That was the show that kind of got me like, oh, like Volbeat's pretty badass. Yeah.
and Rob Caggiano on guitar. I mean, I love that dude.
Yep.
So yeah, Volbeat was awesome. I've been a fan of them ever since that show. And then Avenged Sevenfold, I just didn't have it that day. I don't know. I don't know if it was the setup or what, but just I don't know. I thought it would be a lot better.
Well, if you, yeah, so their first looks like Avenged Sevenfold, their first studio album. They did have a demo before that or an EP before that in 2001. Their first studio dropped called "Sounding the Seventh Trumpet."
Mm.
But the interesting thing, so if you play, oh, their EP, yeah, "Warmness of the Soul." So if you play like their old stuff, so like again, listeners too that are like, Avenged Sevenfold, like they're too commercial, whatever. Go listen to like their earlier stuff because like
Mhm.
they, it's almost like, I mean, he like does a lot of screaming. It's almost like it's totally different, right?
Yeah,
But and I actually heard like after the first few albums, I think he did a lot of damage to his like vocal cords, his whatever. And I think, it took some coaching, some training, some care to really get his singing voice back. And that's where he sings more currently.
sure.
Um, but anyway, so yeah, huge events unfold. I know we kind of got off track there, but um, yeah, it's interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the listener submissions on some of their top 20 metal bands.
Should we do that before we read the list from the article?
Oh God, sorry. Yeah, let's read the list, man. What do we got?
All right. So this was voted by the listeners and readers of the article, and they start top 20: Disturbed, Typo Negative, Rage Against the Machine, Linkin Park, Alice in Chains,
Mhm.
Mastodon, Avenged Sevenfold, Korn, Guns N' Roses, Dio, Lamb of God, Dream Theater, System of a Down, Death, Megadeth, and the top 5: Tool, Slayer, Pantera, Slipknot, and Metallica.
Interesting. I guess they had ones that I didn't even think of too. I mean, I could see how you could fit, like Alice in Chains on there.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, Disturbed didn't even come to mind.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you said, System of a Down that was interesting.
Yeah. And let's see. One glaring thing: no Anthrax on that list.
I think it's interesting that they had Death on there. I mean, it seemed like a lot of radio friendly stuff, and then all of a sudden Death is thrown in there.
Yeah. I mean, number 7. So we had a lot of the big ones, but yeah, they had a lot more radio stuff, like your Alice in Chains, Linkin Park, Rage, Disturbed.
It's interesting. It's interesting too that Dream Theater was in there. And you know what? I'm kind of shocked that you had Dream Theater on your list. I didn't think you were that big of a fan.
I'm not, but I just know how well respected they are, and their name is huge. So I figured they were they earned a spot.
Right on. And I don't know if we talked about this last week, but their new single, The Alien, is fucking awesome. So
Yeah.
just trying to say, like, I don't know
Yep,
if you've heard it on Liquid Metal or anything, but it's
I
fucking
have.
awesome.
Yeah, and I think the alien in that song is the same one that was surfing with Joe Satriani. True story. Yeah, so their list is interesting for sure. Yeah, I'm was shocked when I was reading it, and I had to scroll through it because they have the band name and then they talk about it or
Mhm.
wrote about it each. So as I was scrolling through, I'm like top five, I'm like no Anthrax, no Anthrax. And then I get to number two, and like, or I see Pantera's three, so I'm like, well, obviously Metallica is going to be one. Anthrax is number two, and then it was Slipknot.
Mm.
Broke my black heart. Yes, we love Anthrax, as we've mentioned before. All right,
Awesome.
so we got some listener feedback on that too. So our man Doug, who's at Trapeze11 on Twitter, he sent in one, and I'll just read. Yeah, so Iced Earth at 20,
Ooh.
Skid Row, Prong, Suicidal Tendencies,
Ah.
Queensryche, Flotsam and Jetsam, Slipknot. This one I swore you'd put on your list, but you did not. Twisted Sister.
Yeah. Ah,
I thought that'd be in your top five.
I guess I don't know. I guess it really in my head, I don't know. It's like the classification thing, right? It's a genre thing. Like when
Right.
I think of metal, I know even D says it's metal, but to me, like Twisted Sister is like hard rock. It's kind of like AC/DC. It's kind of
Yeah.
like
Mhm. So I guess what did you use to make your list? Was it kind of like how I did mine, or are you just kind of listing your favorites? Or
yeah. I mean, I literally I went through like my entire library
Mhm.
and like as bands kind of popped out, I would write them on the list, and then I took that list of like 50 and then
Yep.
I started like weeding them down and then shuffling them around to make up my top 20. So the criteria really is just how much influence they had on me. I mean,
Mhm.
I would have put like the Chrome Eggs too, but I'm like, are they more punk than metal? I don't know. And maybe I just got too hung up in the genre to.
Sure.
That's interesting though.
Yeah. And then he goes on.
I mean, Queensryche, that's a good one. I didn't think of
Yeah.
that one.
Yep. That's genre for me too. I mean, I think that's more hard rock, but I just also don't know them all that well. And I know their hits and stuff. But
Hmm.
all right. Then back to Doug's list. Number 12, Metal Church, Lamb of God. He also put Armored Saint, Testament. He did put Death Angel,
Nice.
Exodus, Anthrax, and the top five being Pantera, Overkill, Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica.
Nice.
And then we got some Twitter response. Let's go to Aaron, aka Larry, Aaron Akalari. That's your name now.
Yep.
So starting at his 20, Tool, Five Finger Death Punch, Machine Head, Exodus, Testament, System of a Down. And this band, I was thinking, these next two I thought about putting on, but Obituary and Fear Factory,
Oh,
Dream
Fear
Theater.
Factory. Damn it.
Yeah, that's probably the sixth song in my next top five. And Hatebreed, I thought about Death, Anthrax, Korn, Lamb of God, Cannibal Corpse, Slipknot, Megadeth, Pantera, Slayer. And we've got our friend Tommy from West. My God, they took their germs, Virginia. And I told him he could not use propane for all 20. So he was a good boy and only put in once. And he told us to judge away. And he said that his criteria was just that they're his favorite. So this is Tommy's top 20 favorite bands:
Cool.
Black Dahlia Murder, Cro-Mags, Slipknot, Corrosion of Conformity, Guns N' Roses, Madball, Skid Row, Death Angel, Lamb of God, Deftones, and 10, Quiet Riot, Cinderella, Machine Head, Sworn Enemy, Hatebreed, Mudvayne, Pantera, Korn, Propane, and Metallica. Yeah, so thank you, Doug, Aaron Akaleri, and Tommy. Thank you very much. That was fun.
Absolutely. That was fun. And it's yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if Bill's listening. Is Bill listening?
Not
If he's,
live.
I don't think he's in the chat.
No.
Um, yeah, I'm just curious at his top. Because I think Black Dahlia Murder would have been on his too. Cannibal Corpse.
Yeah, I think he would have gotten too excited. So yeah, so we're talking about the metal heart surgeon, most metal heart surgeon, Bill Joy, a former guest. I don't know if he would have. I'm thinking his criteria, if he just would have gotten excited, he would have listed 20 death metal bands and probably only 6 that we've heard of.
Right.
Dude knows every band.
So. Speaking of bands that we've never heard of, I listened to a new band, and we don't have a review of it or anything, but the name of the band's called Having Kittens. This is great. I love it because the singles title is Human Scratching Post.
Nice.
Cats are metal.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so making that list was fun, and I could see maybe putting in a segment of a list at some point.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It is fun, and and again, eventually it'd be cool. We'll have different lists with different criteria, and get some listener participation. It's a great way to interact with the metal community.
Yeah. So.
And you can kind of tell too. I mean, based on where people are, and I'm just wondering. You can kind of see. If we get those listeners, not only like where you are in the US, but if you get listeners that are outside, we know we have listeners that are outside the US too. So it'd be interesting to get some of those other geos and kind of see how lists compare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks everybody for submitting their lists. And again, we really do appreciate it. And let's go ahead and look at some new releases now, Jim.
Yeah. My biggest one of the week was the new Exodus single. The beatings will continue.
Yeah.
The song is called The Beatings Will Continue Until Morale Improves. And it's from their upcoming album Persona Non Grata. There are 12 songs on the album, due out November 19th. And I didn't know that 7 years had passed since Blood In, Blood Out, their last album.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's been a while. And
I thought it was like 3 years.
Yeah, it flies, right? I suppose because, well, yeah, I don't know. Probably because Gary was busy touring with Slayer and shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, this song, yeah, it comes in fast and thrashy. I'll tell you that.
Yep, it's got all the signature Exodus moves on it. Good one. I like it.
Absolutely. And then we have our second. There's actually the second single from the Iron Maiden album coming out, Senjutsu. The second single, Stratego. So we talked a little bit about the writing on the wall.
Yeah, I actually just listened to that the first time a few days ago, and it took me a little while to realize it was Iron Maiden, because it's the way it starts. It's just not. It's different from what they normally do, and
it's kind of like a little westerny, right?
Yeah, I was listening to it again today, and I thought, this would probably fit really well on the soundtrack to Young Guns 2 that Bon Jovi did.
There you go.
That's the vibe it gives me, but kind of like a old West outlaw kind of thing. But it's a cool song. It's catchy. I dig it.
Yep, absolutely.
And then the cool thing is when you go to Apple Music and you hit play, the picture, the album cover, the samurai dude starts moving.
Yeah, it's animated, pretty awesome. I actually and I actually did a capture of it. I have it as a video. We'll go ahead and post it to our social. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, and I literally went, "Whoa!"
Right? I think yeah, and it's pretty cool. The new single that dropped for Stratego, they're showing some new images of Eddie and the new Samurai Eddie without his helmet on and stuff. Dude, the artwork is so badass.
Yes, I agree. And then Liquid Metal started debuting the new Orbit Culture single, "Flight of the Fireflies."
Dude, I don't even know that band. Who are they?
Yeah, they've been around a little bit. I think they're Swedish, I believe. And yeah, I mean, not thrash, but more, I don't even know, kind of like in the vein of Slaughter to Prevail.
Sure.
I don't know if that is that a genre now. I don't know.
Right.
But
Um,
yeah, they have an EP coming out September 24th called Shaman.
cool. I'm adding it to my playlist right the frick now. Dude, they got a whole bunch of albums. Holy crap.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I've seen the name around a lot and then haven't heard too much of their stuff, but I like the new song.
Cool. I'll give it a go for sure.
It's heavy.
And then as we roll into some concert calendars,
Yeah.
we actually were talking about a little bit before we went live, I think, about some of the things that are happening with current shows, current bills, some bands. They're having some artists that are requiring proof of vaccine, while some artists aren't. Some it's the venue, some it's the promoter, some, like Live Nation, for example, will require proof of vaccination. There's been not only some artists testing positive and them canceling shows, but
Mhm.
also, for instance, we heard today that like Limp Bizkit's pulling out of all the rest of their tours because of what's going on. And but with that being said, we got some pretty exciting stuff coming up in 2022. Um, and I don't think we talked about it before, but it was announced that Rock in Rio, the Metal Day in Rock in Rio, February 9th, 2022, is Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Dream Theater, and Sepultura. That'd be a
Nice.
freaking badass day.
Mhm. Yep.
So if I want to go down to Brazil, that'd be a pretty fun time. Um, and then speaking of Sepultura, they also just kicked off. They're going to kick off in 2022 their North American Quadra tour, and that's Sepultura with Sacred Reich, Crowbar, and I don't remember who the fourth band is. But I did get my tickets,
Yeah.
so I will be seeing Sepultura and Sacred Reich. Like I said, I'm a huge Sacred Reich fan, so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty jacked. So I'm going to see them
Aftershock,
here in
definitely.
Minneapolis.
Is that last band name Aftershock?
Aftershock, that's it. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
So
I'm
yeah,
gonna.
anybody that's going to go there, let us know, and yeah, we can catch up, hang out.
Yeah.
And then, as a reminder, let's remind people again if they missed an episode. The Thrash Report will be in San Francisco,
Yes.
December, for the Metallica 40th anniversary celebration. So let us know if you guys if anyone plans on going, or who's going to be there. Um, it's going to be a blast. So we'd
Well,
love to hang out and get our medal on. That'd be great. Hey, I almost forgot. We got 1 week left. I want to thank everyone that's been posting reviews
yes.
um, in Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate everyone that takes their time and does that. We have one more week before we announce the winner of our Thrash Report prize pack. It includes a T-shirt, a sticker, and a coffee mug. Please jump over to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, let us know what you think. We really do appreciate it. So thank you
Yeah.
again.
Yes. Very cool. Thanks. Trivia time.
Corn.
Yeah, this kind of an easy one, I think. But we're talking about their album cover for their debut.
Yeah.
Do you know? Do you know what is on the front of the cover that's missing from the rear? It's the same picture minus one thing.
Oh, I don't know.
Two things, I guess. But on the front cover, it's a shadow over a girl on a swing.
Mhm.
And on the back cover, no shadow, no girl.
Oh, that's scary.
She's been taken. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of creepy.
Yeah, totally. I was not aware of
The more you know.
that. Hey, let's jump back to 1998 and
Oh
take a
yeah,
look at our album back in the day. What do we got, man?
yeah. This was one that I looked forward to a lot. It was the debut by Rob Zombie, Hellbilly Deluxe. So I don't listen to him much anymore. Like his stuff after this, I listened to this one all the time because it was brand new and I was a huge White Zombie fan. So I was anticipating it greatly. It came out, I loved it. I still enjoy a lot of the songs on it, and it's also one of those albums that just came out and I listened to at a certain time in my life where like good memories and listening to this stuff with I just graduated high school and had like my first real taste of freedom. I didn't have to be home at a certain time or didn't
Right.
even have to call if I wasn't coming home, whatever. Just I was gone all day, out hanging out with friends, working, whatever. And so just kind of a warm album for me.
So what is the again, I'm not really a huge Rob Zombie fan. So like
Yeah.
what's a couple of the call out tracks on that LP?
Super Beast, Dragula, Living
Got it.
Dead Girl. Yeah. Um,
Yep, and again, I'm familiar with the songs. I just didn't know if they were on that album. Cool. That's awesome.
yep. And oh, what did I just see? There's a meme going around, like, those uh, boards that people have in their house say like live, laugh, love.
Hmm.
Now there's like those, but with Hellbilly or Dragula lyrics on it,
Oh, really?
like dig through the ditches and burn through the witches.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and just looking at these names on here, I just Meet the Creeper just had an awesome feel to it, and I did listen to it again probably a month or two ago, and I still enjoy it. Brought me back, like I was saying. So yeah, just kind of a fun one for me.
Awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool. And then in addition to doing something from back in the day, we take a
yeah.
look at today in the day,
Today in the
right? Kind of
day.
this new wave of thrash. We have a brand new thrash band. Who are we looking at this week, Jim?
Yep. So they're not brand new. I think they've been around since I think their first one was around 2015 or something. But they are from Germany and they're called Eradicator. And it's what you'd expect from German thrash. It's speedy, blistering solos, crushing vocals. But yeah, so Eradicator from Germany. They are, I think their latest album, Echo Chamber, is just came out on July 23rd. And yeah, looks okay. So 2009 was looks like their first one, The Atomic Blast.
Nice.
And 2012, Madness Is My Name. 2018, Into Oblivion. 2015, Slavery. So check out Eradicator. And it was kind of hard to find some info on these people, but when I was looking, I found a band called The Eradicator, which is like a hardcore punk band,
Hmm.
and it's kind of a tribute to the old sketch comedy show Kids in the Hall. We even mentioned at the very beginning of this, I think, or maybe just on the live, but I have to check that out because I was a big Kids in the Hall fan too.
Awesome.
Yeah, Eradicator.
Cool, man. Yeah, just looked them up. I added them to my playlist, and it looks like the two dudes got to be brothers, yo.
Yeah.
Like, they look like almost identical. Um, cool, man. Well, what other follow ups or what other final thoughts do we have for this week?
Well, something cool that came out. We just opened up a new office in Milwaukee, and our company president sent out an email just kind of introducing the team. Or we acquired a firm, and the pictures of everybody together, and then kind of individually, and just with a little quote or something. And there's one picture of a dude holding a Jackson Warrior and throwing metal horns. So, of course, I
So
had to reach out.
immediately you're friends.
Yep. So I just emailed and said, "Hey, cool guitar, and I see you're throwing horns. Are you a metalhead?" And he's like, "Damn right, brother." So I just went back and forth on some emails a little bit. So I'm sure I'll be talking to him more. And yeah, so just kind of cool, this metal family we have. Just connections keep getting made. So it's
That's
awesome.
awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. That's about all I got, man.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, as always, it's super fun to catch up, Jim. It was a fun
Yeah.
episode. Again, kind of digging deep on those top 20 metal bands. And again, thanks everyone for listening. Thank you for those that contributed your lists as well. I want to thank everyone for leaving a review. You can find everything that there is about the Thrash Report at thrashreport.com. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, thethrashreport@gmail.com. You can always hit us up on Facebook, like our page on Facebook. We'd really, really appreciate it. And with that, we will see you all next time on the Thrash Report. See ya!
Good evening.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.